Hello, welcome to another Fingernail Fixer video. In this video, I'm going to give you an idea on how to create designs using your nail eyes. For this instance, I have taken a picture of a shirt that I saw someone wearing and loved the visual texture. So I'm going to use colors that are similar just because I enjoy the contrast of the visual texture that it had. Using a gel polish color of your choice, something bright, go ahead and apply 2 layers of the color and cure. Then using some black gel polish, we're going to use a sponge and create that background texture that we saw on the shirt. Dab the sponge into your gel polish and then tap the excess off on your palette and just kind of spread it around the nail. And it almost looks like faded, crinkled paper as far as the texture goes. So we're really just going to keep tapping the nail with the sponge until there's not really any dark black left. It just leaves the idea of the visual texture, and then cure that in place. Once you have the background cured, use a small detail or striping brush and create the stripes going across the nail. When you're working on a tip for your demo, it's pretty easy to just roll the tip and go right from one side to the other. When you're working on a finger, you tend to run in the skin, so you could start at one side and meet in the middle. You can make the stripes as thick or as thin as you like. In the shirt design, the stripes are also a little bit messy. They're not perfectly saturated with color. So once you get them applied with your striping brush, you can come back in and use the sponge again to just kind of blur or smear the lines a little bit. If you wanted to, you could leave the lines fully saturated and nice and crisp over the top of that background design. It's really completely up to what you want the finished look to be. I really like the deconstructed visual texture of the shirt, so I'm going to go ahead and use that sponge to kind of really smear out or deconstruct those lines. And you want to just gently tap it as you're going across, because if you kind of rub the sponge a little bit, you'll lose the idea of the line. So just really gently use a different section of the sponge and just lightly tap that line so that you still have a line, but it's deconstructed. It doesn't look perfectly smooth and saturated with color. Go ahead and cure those lines once you're happy with them so that we can come back with some black and the striping or detail brush and do the lines going down the nail. If you want thick lines, push your brush a little harder so that we'll deposit more color. And if you want thin lines, just lightly, barely touch the nail as you bring the brush down so that you have less color and you'll get a thinner line. I wanted to go ahead and do a little bit thicker lines so that you really notice the deconstruction of the stripes once I sponge them. You can go over the stripes a couple of times to thicken them up or widen them out, as well as deposit a little bit of extra color. Once you're happy with the lines going down the nail, the thickness that you would like, come back in with a different section of the same piece of sponge and just lightly tap the lines and tap this excess gel polish off your sponge onto your palette. And you can go over the lines as few or as many times as you want. It really depends on how much or how little color saturation you would like to have. I'm gonna go over the lines coming down the nail a little more than the ones across so that I have 2 different types of visual texture when it comes to the lines. Once you're finished, go ahead and cure that in your lamp and then come back and protect your design and your gel polish with a layer of top coat. Apply a nice thin layer of top coat and completely cure this design. And as you can see, we now have something that represents the visual texture of the pattern we got on the shirt, even though we used slightly different colors and we didn't imitate the design completely. I hope this gives you an idea of how to use your nail eyes and you have fun doing this in lots of different colors and styles. Thanks so much for joining me. Please click like if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you're first to know when they load, and thanks for your time.